Ahimsa. It's one of the core principles of Hinduism, rooted in the idea of not causing harm to any living being, whether through actions, words, and even thoughts. In the Hindu scriptures like the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, Ahimsa, the principle of nonviolence, is about cultivating compassion and respect for all life. Sounds beautiful, right? But let's be real. When you're scrolling through X, Instagram, or any social media platform, it's easy to forget about nonviolence when someone posts a hot take that makes your blood boil, or that just gets you angry. It ticks you off. Picture this. You're on X and someone's ranting about a topic you totally disagree with. Maybe it's politics, a social issue, a climate concern, or even something trivial like pineapple on pizza. Your fingers are itching to fire back a snarky reply, maybe even a full-on clapback. And in an age where we've been given platforms that allow us to speak loudly, we've all been there. We've all wanted to reply defensively or offensively to something. But here's where Ahimsa steps in like a wise friend. It asks us to pause and think, will my words propagate harm or stress? Is this response coming from a place of anger or wise understanding and curiosity? Will my reply or comment be worth it? That last question is critical here. Before posting a reply or comment on social media, ask yourself, is it worth it? You see, inherent to Ahimsa is the understanding that you're not the only one who matters in this world. The pain and pleasure of other living beings, whether human or animal, matter too. And so when you consider your place in the highly populated macrocosm of social media voices, when you're navigating the crowded landscape of social media opinions, pause to consider. If you're about to unleash a heated or harsh response, how much will it truly matter in the grand scheme of the issue at hand? In all likelihood, your single comment or post won't change the world or resolve a matter that's bigger than just one voice. And especially not so because you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to you. If you're currently involved in some social media conflict or back and forth, I'm trying to help you smartly navigate the moment in which you feel compelled to respond with heat or anger or defensiveness to strangers on social media. Now, applying Ahimsa to your social media life doesn't mean you stay silent or avoid tough conversations when you're clearly itching to defend the position or viewpoint you have. It's about choosing wisely how you engage. For example, instead of typing, "Wow, you're so wrong, what the hell is wrong with you?" which, let's be honest, feels good for about 2-3 seconds or 5 seconds, you could ask a question like, "Hey, can you explain why you feel that way or why you decided to post what you did? What's the quick story behind that? Where are you coming from?" That simple shift in tone and signal on your part to want to at least understand to some extent why someone posted what they did or replied the way they did keeps the conversation humane, at least. It reduces hostility, and honestly, it might even help you and the other person learn something brilliant. Here's a personal story. The other day, I got sucked into a thread on social media about atheism. And believe me, I was ready to unleash a whole wall of facts because I wrote the book, The Honest Case Against Atheism. But then I remembered Ahimsa. Instead of going full-on scorched earth debate mode, I shared a link to a solid article and said, "This helped me understand the issue better when I was writing my book. What do you think about it?" The person who I was getting into this back and forth with didn't change his mind overnight, but we had a decent and mature back and forth instead of a virtual shouting match. That's Ahimsa in action, choosing words that don't wound. Another cool thing about Ahimsa, it ties into the very popular Hindu principle of karma. But more on karma in a future episode. And if you don't want to wait for my profound and useful knowledge on karma in a podcast episode, then just go ahead and read my book, What is God Good For? Evil, Karma, Sin, and Suffering Correctly Explained Finally. You can grab your copy on Amazon today. All right, the next time you're about to jump into a social media spat, channel Ahimsa. Take a deep breath. Chant Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya for 10 seconds and ask yourself, how can I respond with dispassionate maturity instead of harm? It's not about being perfect. It's about trying to make the digital world a little less chaotic, one post or reply at a time. Imagine if we all approached social media and conversations with a little more ahimsa and a lot less trolling. We'd have a nicer digital world, that's for sure. That's all for today's podcast episode of Naked Hindu Tales. If you enjoyed this reflection, check out my book, Who God Really Is, on Amazon.com. Leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And in your review, ask me any spiritual or non-spiritual question you have. I'll be sure to answer your question in a future episode for the benefit of all. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak with you in the next episode.